Welcome to another episode of the True Beast Podcast, brought to you by XDog.com, where you can find the world's greatest health enhancement harness for dogs, the XDog Fitness Vest. Exercising your dog has never been easier or more effective than with the XDog Fitness Vest. So if you're looking to level up your dog's health or enhance its life, be sure to check out XDog.com. And today in the studios, I got my boy Trevor. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Sounding better than you.
Yeah, I sound like shit. So, guys, I've got a nasty sinus infection, and I'm just getting over it. I got my energy back, though, so that's all that really matters. So if I sound like Barry White or if my voice sounds a little bit more sexier, that's why. So how was your week, man?
You know what? It's been eventful, to say the least, man. A lot of work, a lot of introspection, a lot of preparation. I don't think enough people go through preparing their minds for the things that they're trying to achieve goal-wise. So that's kind of what I've been doing, man.
So it seems like there's been a trend right now of people getting sucker punched.
I don't know if it's a trend, but it's a very unfortunate situation.
Well, a few weeks before, I don't know if you keep up with the UFC or MMA, but
no, I don't.
Okay, so there's a guy by the name of George Masvidal, and he used to be roommates with a guy named Kobe Covington. They're best friends all of a sudden, and next thing you know, Kobe kind of took this heel approach, right? Where he just became this massive heel, where he would just like trash countries. He'd be like, yeah, Brazil's a dump and blah, blah, blah. So he started getting a lot of hate to the point where it was causing so much tension in the camp that he had to separate away. And then all of a sudden they went from best friends to they're both at the top, and now they fucking hate each other.
Oh, enemies.
Yeah, they became enemies. And so they end up fighting. They get 25 minutes in the octagon. Kobe beats the shit out of George, whoops his ass for 25 minutes, right? George says, next time I see you in the streets, right, it's not over. I'm going to still catch you, And George, he's been known in the past, he says, where they're from in Florida or Miami or wherever, Dade County, they're known for sucker punching. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't talk, right? Like, somebody runs up to you, you hit first, talk last, right? Like,
shit.
And so, I guess Kobe was at a steakhouse, right, with one of the Nelk boys and all them. You know the Nelk boys?
No, man.
Like the Barstool, they're like big YouTubers, right?
Oh, okay.
And next thing you know, they're in the restaurant, and George Masvidal, I guess, comes in with a hoodie and mask, has an altercation with Kobe, chips his tooth, fucks up his $90 Rolex or $90,000 Rolex, and all this other shit, right? Because the reason why he said that was because why he did it was because Kobe talked about his kids, which in reality he didn't say anything bad about his kids. He just this is one of the heel moves he did. He gets with George Masvidal's baby mama, right?
Oh, wow.
And they do a video, and he's like, "You're a deadbeat dad," and blah blah blah. Don't worry, and all this other shit. Shit that is gonna draw numbers because it's controversy and
Sounds
shit.
like it's a very vindictive individual.
Yeah, well, these guys have had countless amount of rounds together sparring. So I think they've already known who was going to be the victor, before the fight even started.
Yeah.
But anyways, Kobe's pressing charges, which in your situation, you're two fighters. What's your perspective on something like that, for example, right? You're George Masvidal. You had 25 minutes to do what you had to do in the ring in front of the world, right? Back up every word you say you're going to do to this guy. Didn't get it done.
I mean, you got to take that L, man. I mean, it's really simple. As a man, you got to be responsible and accountable. I mean, as a woman, as anybody.
Yeah.
You got to eat your own words, and that's what he's got to do.
Well, now, do you think now George could probably see up to 2 years in prison, right?
Yeah.
And do you think Kobe should press charges?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. If we went the right route, you know what I mean? You turn around, we got paid to be there.
Yeah.
And now we're just doing it on some like hood stuff.
Yeah.
Like once you make it, people, I'm not going backwards, man. Well,
some could argue that, right? And some could argue and go, why don't you just see if you can find him again in the octagon, just whoop his ass and make even more money?
That's another bright move.
Yeah.
Just turn around and see if we can get in there. And if I lose again, at least I came up in the world.
I think that could sell much bigger, right? You could get massive pay-per-view. You could do all this stuff. And George would have an opportunity to put his hands on you again.
Sounds like pride and ego, though, are at the forefront versus business and opportunity.
Yeah. How far do you think people should go when it comes to being a heel, to selling a fight or selling anything?
I think it depends on how How you live. 50
Yeah.
used to say, if my record sells slow, I'm going to show you my dick. You know, he literally will do anything to be successful. And at the same time, you think about the man's upbringing, he got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He literally has nothing to lose, so he's not worried about nothing in that regard. Like, what you think of him is the least of his concern.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. But if you build all that with that banner up, if you would, all that back and forth, you might as well get paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Ali said back in the day, I don't really be wanting to fight him outside. That would defeat the purpose. He said, I won't get paid.
Yeah.
That's the only concern he had, was building all that animosity up to get out there and do what he wanted to do. But he was never going to throw his first punch or throw for a slap or act too crazy, because he's interested in that paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, you've talked about having an altercation in the past, you know?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah. You know,
Plenty. I was raised that way, though. We wasn't getting paid.
Exactly. Yeah, money changes a lot of things.
It does.
Man.
You're like, hey, brother, let's just hold off till Sunday, man. We get a check for this shit.
Well, as you know, everybody's talking about it. You know, Will Smith decides to go up and, you know, smack. It looks like he smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. Do you believe that was real or fake?
Well, for when I tell you this, first I was like, man, this is fake as fuck. And then the more and more people start calling my phone. Almost back to back.
Yeah.
And I wasn't watching the Oscars. I was actually editing some stuff.
Well, no one's been watching the Oscars forever.
Exactly. So they go, Trevor. I'm like, no, bro. I don't even know. We don't have a channel over here, man. I'm on the front of the computer. So I just was like, fuck, bro. That's awful, man. Poor Chris.
What do you think? Let's just say if it was real, right?
Yeah. I think it was very real, to be clear. I think it was very real.
What do you think led up to that?
Well, Charlemagne and various people, and, you know, it's all over TikTok, but Will talked about being a coward the majority of his life, and he's carried that negativity. And even one person, I think on TikTok, when I was swiping through the other day, had his voice version of his book, where he talked about living in that moment and how everything he's done since he's been successful is to, in some form or fashion, say sorry to his mother because of an incident at 9 years old where he was watching and his mother be assaulted, you know, domestically abused by his father. So being a coward, man, those people are dangerous. Yeah. Those people are, in general, if it's Will Smith or not Will Smith, a person who's a coward and then seizes a moment of opportunity, which isn't an opportunity, they're dangerous, man, because they'll kind of do anything. Yeah. And they're not all there at that point. So, you know, we watched, as they said, a 53-year-old guy who's never had a breakdown or meltdown at a national level, at least.
That's how old he is?
53.
Wow.
Exactly. And do something that we never expected him to do. And then you got to think about it from a Chris Rock standpoint. I've watched Chris Rock stand up a few times. He's not the guy talking about fighting. Yeah. He's not the guy who's talking about being tough. None of his movies insinuate that he's even interested in that type of lifestyle. You know what I mean? He don't even do those kind of things. So you hit somebody who was defenseless. Yeah. Realistically, you didn't slap somebody. And then we're talking about being a comedic. Yeah. You know, a comedian, my bad, at the highest level. Yeah. So you go, bro, come on, man. Like, you wouldn't have done that if it was like Shannon Sharp said, I'd have whooped his ass. Yeah. I'm like, boy, that'd have been something. Walk up on stage and hit Shannon Sharp, he done got choke slammed. Yeah. Or Mike Tyson would have beat the brakes off that joke. He'd have sent Mike back. Yeah. Mike would have beat him to death. He'd be like, nigga, you played a boxer. I'm a real life murderer.
What do you think as far as just like, you know, after the incident happens, you see, was it Denzel Washington and who's the other director?
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry consoling him, but there was no scene of, how can you say this, of Jada consoling him.
Well, I think they went to the wrong person for one. For one, we shouldn't have to calm Will down. Like they said, if there's anybody else, they'd have took his ass out and arrested him. That being said, nobody checked on Chris Rock. Yeah. And you know, clearly we've got Will who's dealing with something internally, and Jada sitting up there in her prideful state of being, and that's what got her all this noise in the first place. Yeah. You had a red table talking, you didn't tell your truth. See, Oprah, when she came out, Oprah talked about her uncle raping her and so many other things, so you could never bring anything up about Oprah. We're going to address every monkey, dinosaur, elephant in this room so I can be as great as I think I could be. And there might be some more hidden things, but the gist of it is, when you go and search for information on Oprah Winfrey, she put it in a book and out there publicly. So when she does chastise someone about a topic, the truth is all there. And so in my opinion, I think it's despicable to say the least, because she's kind of the sore, like that thorn that's like just stuck there somewhere.
Yeah.
She's casted a very dark shadow on that whole family and the way in which she's been doing things now.
It's kind of crazy because do you think that Red Table Talk took away Will's masculinity? I mean, it literally makes him, I mean, without lack of a better word, he's a one of the most popular cucks in the industry, in history.
Yeah. I think it took away when he sat down.
Yeah.
So had it been her thing, then it'd have been a different road. But because it's he sat down to address the issues and then corrected her. And when she said intent, he says, "Come on, it was a relationship."
Yeah.
Then he looks even saltier, or looks more buffoonish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think she's made it tough for the whole family moving forward in general because of her choices, or my bad inability to decide what it is she wants and needs to do as a mother and as a wife.
Toxicity, man,
at its finest.
At its finest. And that's the type of things that we kind of see across our communities and in all genres of communities, of social media, and the dog communities at all levels, man. It just seems like people are easily influenced and swayed. Like there's a bunch of freaking cowards, right? And they say a lot of these things like the other day I got notification on a hate post on XDog. It's been a long time, right? And we finally got one the other day, and I'll go through that because I got some things I want to debunk on that, but I didn't. I caught myself doing a post, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm taking this down. I don't even want to get involved in this. I'm gonna address this a different way. But it was like a sucker punch, like. I was wondering why sales were going up so fucking, like, dude, we just had the fucking greatest weekend ever. And I'll show you the numbers in a second, but I'm like, why the fuck did we have this huge spike? Oh, hate post. So I kind of I can't go see it because this individual was blocked a long time ago. And I go back and I go, oh, I remember this individual. This individual is a person that, dude, when I say like a fan, like a super fan, right? We like, dogs, amazing. Dogs look really good. Like physically, I never seen them in person, never seen them work. Dogs look really good. We were going to use them on a label. I do a prototype of the label, do a post. I get about 50 inboxes, right, of people going, if you're going to use that dog on the label, I don't want nothing to do with your company. I was like, oh, well, what's up? Bully after bully after bully after bully after bully post, right? Like this individual is notorious for shitting on people. And I go, oh, yeah, we can't have that shit, right?
Yeah.
I take the dog off. All of a sudden, we went from the greatest company in the world, and they love us, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're not going to use my dog? Hate. So I was like, scorn woman, right? At the end of the day. So once I found out who it was, again, I look at the page, I go, another individual who's vicariously living through their dog.
Yeah.
But what really struck out to me, right? And this is what you guys have to be aware of. Stay in your lane and focus on what you need to focus on, and don't let anybody else sway you from what you need to be doing. And here's why. Because the individual that we took the dogs and replaced on that label, now, who was an advocate XDog fan, was commenting on that post. Well, you have a person who hated on that person and another person who hated on that person. Now both have a problem with XDog, and we did nothing to them, and now they're in the same vicinity. You get what I'm saying? And so I never once, I could put it out there, right? But I never once said, hey, you know all the nasty shit that this individual said about you? And do you know all the nasty shit that this? No, you don't. You don't know all that stuff. And now you guys are in the same proximity. But we made adjustments basing off of thinking that this other individual was a great person, And to come to find out, we've done everything, laid out the red carpet, done everything, put the dogs on the label, blah, 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 and turned on us. You see what I'm saying? So now we're like, it was a good... What we took out of that situation is like, it's time to remove dogs off the labels because people get in their feelings.
Yeah. And
so ever since we've done that, man, branding has been great and shit like that. But it was just kind of one of those unique things, man, where it was kind of like I got sucker punched on it. And I'll go through some of the things that the claims they make and kind of how the post goes. And that way I can kind of debunk a lot of shit, right? And so as requested, if anyone has any stories of their dogs being injured, please comment below. I feel like there's more safe ways to exercise your dogs. And the topic was why weight vests aren't great for canine fitness, right? And I go, okay. Well, I look at all the comments. Guess how many people, there's about 20-something comments, right? How many people dog got injured? How many you guessing?
Oh, none.
None.
Yeah,
Zero reports.
They've been doing weight pulling for dogs for years. I mean, like literally 20, 30 years. So I'm confused.
Yeah.
That's more, I mean, you're talking about a dog pulling a $5,000 pallet down a 13-foot path.
Yeah.
And a weighted vest is an issue?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, one, when you look at this individual, you know they never lifted a weight in the day of their life, or they did and gave up on it, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Hey,
so,
God, it's too much for me.
Yeah, so to talk about how weight training can be hard on a dog, right? And you got to be a weight lifter, right?
Oh,
it's
sure.
never somebody who, what I've always noticed in when it comes to stuff like this, it's never an individual who actually exercises. It's somebody who asks their dogs to exercise, period. It's never anybody who actually goes into the gym, because anybody who goes to the gym, right, understands and knows the importance and benefits of weightlifting.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Anybody who actually lives it and not live through their dog, right?
Yeah.
You've lift, right? You go to the gym.
I was there the other morning. I'll be there today. I'll be going there tomorrow as well. It's a nonstop affair.
Okay, so let me go through the scroll and the topics of it, and then we'll discuss, right?
Yeah.
All right, so number one, these are the reasons why weight vests are bad for dogs. Running is considered a high-impact sport as is. What that means is it's really hard on joints, knees, ligaments, etc. So running with extra weights puts that much more stress on the areas, making them more prone to injury. If you plan on using a weighted vest for your dog, it might be best to choose walking over running. As far as training for competitive sports, they do get slightly stronger, but it completely jacks up their running mechanics and tends to actually make them slower. End result is it's better to rely on more general strength training to get stronger.
Let me tell you guys something. There is no push-ups for dogs, okay? You know, functional training is something that I always made sure my athletes back in the day did and understood, because the only thing on the football field was their bodies, but they needed personally to have an understanding of how a push-up directly translates, for instance, to a bench press, a shoulder press. It's the same movement, just with added weights.
Sure.
And I literally am reading a dog muscle physiology book where there's horses and everything, and I think the fixator muscles specifically stabilize joints.
Yeah.
So I'm going into detail on my YouTube going forward. I've got 5 videos Ruben sent me on mobility, shoulder development, shoulder engagement, why certain dogs have shoulders, and if it even impacts a dog's movement and strength development. Like, y'all not understanding what we're about to do here, people. I am preparing for this so-called war, but it's not a war, because a parent used to ask me, hey, is it too soon for my son to exercise? I said, strength and muscle are two different things. And to build strength is to stabilize the joint. Joints allow movement, muscles move bones. If you don't have the muscles to stabilize your knee, then the kid's knee becomes a mover. When the knee becomes a mover, an ACL, MCL, patella tendon, meniscus, lateral ligaments, all those things begin to tear. If you look at the anatomy of a knee, it's white. Look up what the anatomy of it, it's white. Why? Because white is tendon and ligament. Tendon and ligaments do not stretch.
Yeah.
When they do stretch, they stress. When they stress, they fucking snap. And I know this because my focus is ergonomics with the emphasis on human mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm literally just transferring it over to dogs at this moment in time, but I've got to catch up. But if you want to talk to me about the human body, please don't walk down. You're going to go to war with somebody who's got all kinds of loaded guns. Sure.
And like you said, fixator muscles are extremely important. This is why when you talk about, this is one of the big reasons why when we ship the vest comes empty.
Yeah.
It's not even loaded.
And with a lot of instructions.
Yeah, it's not loaded. And for example, when it comes to, we have 2 different types of training, right? High velocity training, HVT, which includes running, jumping, and sprinting. And we recommend 1 to 5% of the dog's body mass, right? Period. Now, I can almost 1,000 times guarantee I put $10,000 on this, right? When you're doing agitation work, right, with the dog, right? And you have a dog that is, I don't care what type of harness it has on. It can have a Y harness. It can have an X-back harness. It can have an H harness. It doesn't matter. You can have the safest harness, what you consider safest harness. When a dog is pinned down and it's running as hard as he can and gets stopped, how much force do you think that is?
Oh, I'm a numbers guy, so I don't know what the physics in it, but it's quite a bit.
There's no studies done on it, but I can tell you this. It's more than 5% of the dog's body weight. I mean,
for sure.
It's like getting hit by a Mack truck every single time. And then you're doing rep after rep after rep, right? And I don't care what type of harness you have on. All you have to do is put yourself on a leash or a lead, run out, and completely stop. I mean, run as hard as you can and completely get pulled back. Stopped right in your tracks. I'll tell you what, that's not easy on the musculoskeletal structure, right? So if a dog is 100 pounds.
Whiplash, right?
You could, yeah. And the dog, on top of that, they also have collars around the neck and they're pulling on the neck at the same time. There's multiple photos of it, right?
Yeah.
And for example, to me, 5% of a dog's body mass on conditioned up, right? You start out with 1% over an 8 to 10 week period. You gradually get up once your dog is conditioned to 5%. That's much safer, and it's going to add more longevity to your dog's musculoskeletal structure than constantly doing agitation work, right? That's constantly where even if you have a handler, you're going to get a different type of pressure each time. Sometimes handlers are great. Sometimes handlers are not great. It's just the bottom line. It's the truth. That's why they have this thing called shitty handlers. Like there's a shirt called shitty handlers because, you know, they don't know how to handle. They don't have enough reps. And so, of course.
What people fail to realize, though, too, is that there's a process to doing anything, right?
Sure.
So, and there is the challenge. The challenge isn't the X Vest. The challenge is you put it on your dog, wanting your dog to do great things, but you don't even walk your dog a mile.
Yeah.
People have been hitting me up about their bully wanting to do work because they've seen what Ego's doing, right?
Yeah.
They say, hey, I'm like, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, are you walking him 2 miles a day?
Yeah.
No. Okay, then
start there.
Somebody said, hey, well, he just keeps goes and goes and goes. I said, trust me, in your mind, he goes and goes, but when it's time to do work, he might have 2 good reps in and then he's done.
Yeah.
And here are the facts. When we're doing bite training work, a dog needs to be able to go 3 rounds and upwards of 15 bites.
Yeah.
We're talking about at 100%.
Yeah.
Most time after you tell your dog sit 3 times in training, your bitch drops because you don't have the conditioning to keep that level of focus even.
Yeah, and there's a lot of high-level trainers that go, 5% ain't enough, right, for high-velocity training, where other people think that it's too much, right? And then we have low-impact movement, which they said walking, right? Cool. Condition up to 10%. But the bottom line is the vest comes empty, and all that is controlled by the handler. I think what they're speaking, it's like they think that the vest comes fully loaded, and it's way too heavy for the dog, which is not the case, right?
Well, this is the plug. People buy the vest and see yourself.
Well, that's another thing, right? No one who commented actually ever used the vest.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's go to the next one. Weight vests are used as training aids to boost metabolism, increase endurance, and improve resistance for certain types of muscle training. That doesn't sound negative, right?
No.
Okay. Since a weight vest rests on top of the dog's back and is strapped to their chest, it puts a ton of pressure on their spine, which can lead to back pain and back spine injury.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Yeah. It's not laying on top of the spine. As a matter of fact, there is no weight on the spine.
Yeah, it's all on the sides of the
what kind of weight? Yeah, they can't be talking about our vest, but they have our vest in the photo, right? Yeah. So there is no weight on spine, right? And then there was a comment down here that kind of stood out, right? It was a comment from a person who rides horses. And it was kind of cool. Let me see if I can find it. Well, anyways, basically in a nutshell, the comment says, guess this follows along with the lines of the horse world. We try our best to distribute as much rider weight as possible in making things as light as we can. There's a whole science behind saddle design to distribute weight and shock absorption. Never thought about that on the dog implication and theory side. When you think about a saddle, right? When you think about a saddle, the saddle lays on the middle of the spine, the weakest part of the actual horse.
Yeah.
When you talk about the hips, I don't know in other sports, but like football, wrestling, hips, having good hips is like super important, right?
That's all sports is, hips.
Hips, right? Why?
Well, for one, that's where your torque comes. That's where you change your direction comes from. That's where your power comes from. Madden figured it out. When you hit the hit stick on Madden, what does he do? He drops into his hips and lays your ass out.
Yeah.
Hips are everything.
Yeah.
That's how you can knock a golf ball to the moon. What you see them do, they're fully extended at the peak with their hips turned out. Baseball, that hip, and is that first move. They get that hip wiggling. It's everything, man.
Yeah. So the weight, one, you have the saddle that's in the middle of the spine, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got a human being that's sitting on there, which makes sense, right? Like, like where else are you going to put a saddle on a horse, right? Like, that's cool. I'm glad that they understand that weight distribution. But if that's so important, then the XDog Vest has done an even better job at it, because when it comes to weight distribution, it doesn't get any better. There's no weight on the spines, and where the weights are located on the sides actually has shown, like, we've had countless amount of comments going, damn, my dog's top line extremely improved. My dog's gait extremely improved. And this was from dogs who were competing in conformation type shows, right? Who were not finishing or even placing, to hearing from the judge, your dog's top line gait seemed like improved. What are you doing different?
Yeah.
And it's the XDog Vest. And so to me, man, like, if you're going to say some things like this, man, you got to have some theory behind it. On top of that, when you talk about boost metabolism, why is it so important to boost metabolism? To to prevent your dog from being overweight, right? Or obese. That's the big problem, right? We've identified this over and over again. The reason why there's been such a big obesity problem is because the message that these people are trying to deliver are the same messages that they've been doing for decades. And what has it led up to? More obesity. They just don't have the influential power, right? So let's go into, and on top of that, you talk about back pain, spine, and injury. There's been 0 injuries. We have 0 injury report, and we have nothing but improved spine and top line reports. All right, this one's the last one. Most importantly, they are not orthopedically approved by board-certified veterinarians to be ruled as safe and effective. They also are not ruled to not be safe and effective. Yeah. That's what they always tend to forget. But let's look at this.
That's funny, though, because neither are ankle weights, neither are weighted vests that athletes wear, neither are hand weights. The doctors don't tell you these are good. The doctor doesn't vouch for this. The one thing I tell you, an orthopedic or physical therapist will tell you beyond a reasonable doubt is there's no leg extensions if you're coming off an ACL or patella tendon or meniscus tear. But that's just them understanding some basic muscle physiology. But there are ways still to do certain things around that to help strengthen the area.
Sure.
Not the knee. You cannot strengthen your knee, people.
Just about almost every fitness equipment on the market isn't orthopedic.
Yeah, these fucking people, look, these people ain't that concerned about their own goddamn health. So please, like, that's what I'm saying. Somebody, even when I was doing nutrition, hey, what about avocados? I said, what the fuck about them?
Yeah.
Should I eat those? 1/8 of an avocado is all the fat you need in the day. But at the same time, if you don't eat them now, I'm not going to tell you to eat them later.
Yeah.
Fuck, what else? Move on.
Yeah. And so when you talk about something like that, the leash and collar is not orthopedically approved. Or certified, same thing, right? It's a commonly used tool. And keep in mind, guys, I have a lot of trainer friends who compete at the highest level of all dog sports work. I'm a big fan of working dogs. I'm a big fan of people working their dogs. So don't act like I don't like working dogs. Some of my best friends in this game, man. And matter of fact, are people who've helped me influence and help design the fucking XDog Vest, right? So leashes and collars, bite pillows, bite decoys, right? Tugs, all this shit that you utilize on your dogs, even place beds, they're not considered orthopedic approved, but people still utilize them. In addition, when you talk about orthopedics, right, you're talking about deformities and correcting deformities, bone deformities specifically, right? You go to an orthodontist, right, if your teeth are crooked and you want them straight. Yeah. Most orthopedic, if you look at orthopedics, it's orthopedic surgeons or people who have dogs who have injuries, like they're, what do you say, like paralyzed, right? And so they have to create these certain devices specifically for the dog to correct a problem that was genetically, most times genetic, or gotten in a severe accident. You get what I'm saying? And so the XDog Vest is simply a tool, right? And so, again, we look at these, I don't like investing a lot of time into it, but I was like, I found it humorous because it really helped us out. We got a fuck ton of traffic and a lot of sales that derive from that post. And I look at it and I go, oh, post, 1 comment, post, 1 comment. XDog, 20 comments, post, 1 comment, post, 1 comment. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just it was an interesting sucker punch. I had a guy slide in my DMs. Remember, I had talked to you the other day because of you.
Oh, well, the health thing. What do you say, nutrition? Or what did he say?
Yeah, you're not a certified nutritionist. Your partner's not a certified nutritionist. He knows nothing about nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you did to trigger him.
Well, Ultra Chrysalis had a certification called Certified Nutrition Works. So the only reason why I didn't go through that is because nutrition is very simple, and unfortunately, you can't unify the whole industry, because if you understand BV, biological availability of certain foods, everybody's body's different, because protein itself, which is literally makes up our DNA, is measured by the nitrogen balance.
Yeah.
So I studied all the nutrition books. I have PhD, literally athletic trainers and doctors and all kinds of friends of mine who have attested to me knowing more than all of them.
Yeah.
So I don't argue with you, but you already know. I don't.
Yeah.
The comments they'll come to you because I'm happy to go to war, but I don't fight. I have a plan, and I think that's people. This will probably be one of the last times we address this here at XDog too.
Yeah.
Because when the business is working, we don't work against the business, and when you defend or debunk, it's kind of like, again, think about them laughing at, we'll say, Obama at one point giving Tesla $400 million to do the electric thing. And then you turn around, he's making, you're like, oh, Obama wasn't too wrong about that Tesla thing.
Hell no.
Because we wanted him to invest and potentially making the world a cleaner place, right?
Yeah.
And he was ahead of his time in that way. And now the time is kind of like, we're talking now almost 16 years ago, realistically, when at least 10, where he was like invested and had received some money from the government to build an electric car. If you spend time arguing with people who do not do research, or for this matter, go and read 2 things and think they know, but don't put anything to the test.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing is not based in theory. It's based in testing and facts, and our facts, for that matter. And I even did a video on our YouTube, and I talked about myself ego weighting the vest. So I said, hey, I'm about to put Maya through a building with the XDog. I'm about to build her back up with the XDog Vest, coming off of a litter, woo, woo, woo. I said, but I weighed 3 different things. I weighed Ego's harness, where we do his bike training stuff. I weighed an empty XDog vest, and then I weighed her vest. It was like 13 pounds. Yeah. And I said very clearly, because Maya jumps and does this and that when we're doing flirt pole stuff in the backyard, I will not put the vest on her in the backyard when she's hopping and skipping, because she lands on her back and that thing is fully loaded with BBs. Yeah. I didn't even put the pouches in. Yeah. I just dumped BBs in them motherfuckers to see, I want this whole heavy. Yeah. And mind you, as I said also in the video, I never read the instructions. And he's done, meaning Stan here, has done a great job of dictating, if you would, the best way possible to preserve your dog's quality of life, and how to be conscious even of what your dog's going to do. So I know Maya's going to leave the ground. She's kind of goofy. Sure. So why would I put something that's going to wear her out, but at the same time, she land the wrong way and it might mess her up. Yeah. But that's on me. So what do? You put a 2-mile walk on her with the vest on, and then her second workout is flirt pole. And that's just upping her conditioning, up her food, all that stuff. And you'll see her dial it back in and get relatively fit. But I understand processes, because before anybody could ever come through the gym and really work out, they had to master step-ups and seated squats using just a 25-pound plate. Nothing more, nothing less. And everybody went through the same process. And I've got the stories. Everybody got better. We're talking about people who were hit by cars at 12 years old with one leg, couldn't run, 4 kids, drive truck for 17 years. Ain't supposed to be doing that. And saying, I can't believe I don't have back pain anymore. And I'm like, don't say nothing. We got to capture it.
Sure.
Over a person who lost 100 pounds that was still 330. Yeah. A woman who went to Miami and could walk because of step-ups. And she says it. He put me on a step. I have not had pain since. Yeah. I mean, I've already done this, so I stopped proving my point a long time ago, because I don't argue with people who don't need me.
Well, here's the thing too. When you're innovating and you're like cutting edge, right? Yeah. Which I believe that's what we are. We are cutting edge.
I agree.
And so you got to be able to. You can't be a coward. Like, for example, like sometimes in the past, I loved when there was almost the opportunities where people tried to cancel us, because it gave us an opportunity to wean out the cowards. right? The people who really weren't there for the movement and the mission. They were there to be a part of something, but on a popularity standard, but they really didn't believe in it. You know what I mean? Like, they sort of believed in it. And it's like going to a fight and it's like you step up and you got 3 of you and there's 10 of them and you got 2 cowards with you. Knock out your 2 cowards. You got a better chance of fucking scaring them off by, fucking knocking out your 2 friends than you do fucking having against them, because they'll be like, oh, this motherfucker's crazy, he knocked out both his friends. You know what I'm saying? But and you got to be able to absorb that shit, man. Like, you're gonna have people challenge you, you're gonna have people question you, you're gonna have people hate on you, but you're also gonna have people believe in you.
Think of that word challenge, because it's not a challenge unless they're creating something better. As I repeat, outwork Will, or not Will, fuck Will right now. Outwork Elon, outwork Amazon, outwork me, outwork this man sitting across from me. It's no challenge for somebody to comment and post some hate and some rhetoric, for that matter.
Yeah.
Make something better. Then I'll have a reason to compete with you.
Yeah.
Or just continue to compete with me.
Yeah.
Because like Kanye said, I show up play one on nobody.
Yeah.
And he's proven to be that every time for the past 20 years, showing up playing one on nobody. Who I'm playing. Jordan said they are worried about the numbers. I was worried about beating me. We're not playing the same game here.
Yeah.
I'm not getting better because I'm comparing last night. I'm like, I should have made this many more shots. Kobe, you hear the stories all the time, him being in there when they come, like, this nigga's still here?
Yeah.
He's still practicing?
Yeah.
He's still, like, bro, he was sweating before I got here. I didn't finish it, and he's still here. It's something in him, as Ivan said, that man was different. So who are we really, where's the challenge?
Yeah.
The challenge is not with one's words, it's with one's actions. And as long as no one's put my, family per se at risk or lives in danger, make something better.
Sure.
Do something I'm not doing, because by the time you figure out step 1, I'll figure out step 10.
Yeah.
10's just on the way to 100, which means I've got a 10-year head start realistically, and you've got a huge head start here at bettering a dog's quality of life, point blank.
Yeah, the goal is to influence, not worry about the micro issues.
Yeah.
If you can solve the macro issues, micro issues will solve themselves eventually, right?
Absolutely.
So, guys, thank you again for tuning in. I would love to make this a lot longer, but, man, my throat is killing me right now. So, if you found so many golden nuggets, man, support, man, show some love. Continue to invest into yourself and to your dogs, and don't vicariously live through them like some of these losers out here. So, thank you again, man. And as always, Team XDog strong.